So what I was concerned about after game 2 came to fruition in game 3 for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces. They are now on the brink of elimination, and eventually the injuries were going to catch up. Right? Like that's why we have this reaction of look at what the Fever have been able to do. This is amazing because they shouldn't be able to do what they have done. With the amount of players who have come in on hardship deals. Obviously, the glaring absences of not just Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham as well, but of course, Caitlin Clark. And the Aces took advantage of that, in the sense where Kelsey Mitchell's the only player who really has the ability to hurt them. So they are bringing extra attention her way. Lexi Hull has been awesome. And it's really been all Kelsey creating or Lexi hitting threes or making hustle plays. Beyond that, it's tough for the Fever. Aaliyah Boston played great defense against Asia Wilson, but the firepower is simply lacking. And that's what the Fever faced in game 3. It's why the Aces were able to hold. I don't even know. They took forever to score in the fourth quarter. Las Vegas pulled away. In some ways, the game was lost at the end of the third quarter, where there was a sequence and a series of events that led to the Fever falling down going into the fourth, including, I don't know how they let this happen, where Chelsea Gray is able to get the ball down the court in the waning seconds, touchdown pass, Jackie Young, who was terrific, and the Aces go into the fourth quarter with control. You can see barely any time left on the clock in that scenario, just a complete breakdown by the Fever there. Not surprising that Aerial Powers was involved in the defensive breakdown, of considering she has had a penchant for that at times this year. So that was one of those plays. Now, on the other side, defensively, the Fever did pretty well for most of the game, especially in the first half of the game. The way that Aaliyah Boston has defended Asia Wilson's just been tremendous. I mean, she's been tremendous. 1 of 11, 3 points, as you can see in the first half. Asia never really got it going. And that's even more concerning for Indiana, that the Aces are able to win the game going away. And that's with Asia Wilson struggling mightily. Wilson, 6 of 20. She wound up turning it around a little bit. 13 points, 8 boards, but you can live with that. 25 points from Jackie Young is tough to deal with. 16 points from Nalissa Smith, who, credit her. I was very critical of Nalissa Smith last year with the Fever, but she has bounced back with the Aces. Credit where it is due. That trade has certainly helped them. And then on the other side of it, with the Fever, you're down to players who just shouldn't be playing. Bottom line, shouldn't be. No offense to Odyssey Sims, but she should not be playing in games at this point. At least the amount of minutes that she's playing, high leverage minutes. You just eventually it's going to catch up to you. 0 of 7 from the floor was Odyssey Sims, just 2 points. Made some poor decisions on the floor as well. Again, Aerial Powers gets 11 minutes of action, doesn't hit a shot. Shea Petty is playing 21 minutes in the game. She actually, did all right. I'm not dissing her or anything, but that is another testament to what I'm saying. And then, KK Timpson, some good minutes. That's encouraging, the way that Timpson was able to play in this one. Another sign that bodes well for the future. But the future of the Fever season is now very, very, very tenuous. The hold on continuing to play, very tenuous. Lexi Hull, she was out there hustling again. That's the reason I praise her the way I do. But look at her fly in for the loose ball. Now, part of that is because look at the way that the Aces are defending here, right? So you see all the attention on Kelsey Mitchell, including the closeout. She actually gets a pretty good look at it here, relatively speaking. But when you have Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, the Aces are overloading on this side of the floor. So it means they're going to surrender. There's a little bit, it looks like Lloyd there, who's out to close out on Hull if the ball gets swung there. But they're letting Lexi shoot some shots. And they're, Jackie Young's floating so far over. That skip pass would be there, but they would just let Sims shoot the ball. That's the strategy. Put all the attention on Mitchell, but Lexi comes in, gets it, and look at her fight her way back to the free throw line, basically, and knock it down. They said on the broadcast that the searches for Lexi Hull were spiking, and you could see why, because she has played her tail off, played her absolute tail off out there. And so did Aaliyah Boston. You'll see a lot of talk about the physicality and the bumping, and look at the smile on her face in the midst of this, kind of laughing off what had happened. But you can't blame the refs in this one for the Fever either. I mean, the Fever got 21 free throws to 17 for the Aces, so they had the free throw advantage, but they didn't hit them at the same clip. Las Vegas was 14 to 17, 82.4%. The Fever 13 to 21. That's just 61.9%. So some of the free throw misses could come back to haunt them, or did come back to haunt them. But overall, it just seems like the control of the series has been seized by Vegas. And without Kelsey Mitchell, putting up crazy numbers, she was just 8 of 26, 3 of 11 from three. Not great shooting numbers for Kelsey, but eventually that's going to come back down to earth. It was always going to come back down to earth. And when you are the focus of so much of the defense, and they're sending so many extra bodies your way, the way that happened with Kelsey Mitchell, it's just tough. It's just tough. And we were wondering when things were going to catch up to the Fever, because again, that's kind of the sentiment. Why are we so impressed? We wouldn't be so impressed if they were at full strength. I mean, you wonder what the Fever would be capable of if they were at full strength. Only the haters are, pushing any sort of ridiculous notion like, oh, they're better without Caitlin. I mean, just it's absurd on the surface. Just an absurd thing to say. Like, when you say it, you should have to shove the words right back into your mouth and be slapped across the face for being so dumb, right? Like, it's just, no one could possibly actually rationally think that. They don't. Yeah, that's an agenda speaking out loud. But, Fever aren't out yet. I guess the way I'm talking about it, it seems like they're out, but it's getting awful close. And really, they should have been out against the Dream. They shouldn't still be here. Game 3, where it's all like, how did the Fever do it after game 3? And you just generally run out of, how did the Fever do it? Or whatever, insert team name or insert player. How did they do it moments eventually, because can't do it forever.